What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Sony Hall, and we are here with Jamison of Arrival of Autumn Part 2. Thank you so much for your time today, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys back. So now that Harbinger is, about a year old now at this point, close to it.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming up fast.
Yeah. Do you kind of have like an overall, like, in a way, like conclusion on this record cycle or how the record cycle's been going?
Yeah, I think, now that we're almost at the end of the year after basically 3.5 months of straight touring, we're feeling great about it. And we're feeling like we've accomplished a lot with this album cycle and ready to just keep kicking ass. And yeah, the reception's been amazing. The feedback's been amazing. And every night of this tour, we've had, just tons of positive feedback, and it's really reassuring, and we feel like we're doing exactly what we need to be doing right now.
There you go. Yeah, because the last time I spoke with you guys, you were on the Soulfly on Earth tour, and now you're on tour with In Flames and Red. Not to say that there isn't like cross between the two fan bases, but I almost feel like it is kind of like a different type of show. Have you noticed like a different like reaction or different type of audience on this tour as opposed to the Soulfly tour?
Yeah, definitely. People on this tour are itching to spend money at the merch table. It's sick. Gaining a lot more fans on this tour, and that is probably just because we fit the bill a little bit better.
Interesting. Well, I feel like you have like songs that are very, very heavy, but also songs that are very, very melodic. I feel like you hit the best of both worlds. So I almost feel like you have the ability to maybe like adjust your set list depending on the tour you're on, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're singing the choruses on this tour for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I mean, when it comes to, do you focus on melody in the music first? Like, does it always start off with a melodic harmony before you piece together the whole song? Or do you start off with, like, heavier aspects, like the riffs or the beats or something like that?
The riffs. It's always been about the riffs. I mean, all of our favorite bands, it's like just the riffs, man.
Yeah.
Love a good riff. So, yeah, we start with a sick riff and then structure, and then make sure we have hooks, melodies throughout going forward.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah, but the riff is that's your foundation right there.
Mm-hmm. As a vocalist, do you need to hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or has there ever been a time on this record where like you had like a concept in mind and maybe that helped determine the music itself?
There's definitely subjects I wanted to tackle, lyrics I had ready to go that I just had to kind of adjust to fit the pattern, the melody.
Yeah.
So definitely have a lot of conceptions going in, and then make it catchy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing could be more heartbreaking though, right, than having like the perfect lyrics and seeing how they go like one syllable over the arrangement. Has that happened before?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's the worst. It's like, oh, now I have to rewrite a whole line because of one syllable, and it's it's cool. It challenges you.
Yeah, there you go. Do you like to leave the lyrics open to interpretation, or do you try to maybe engage the listener into what you're singing about?
We've definitely been kind of hitting the nail on the head with the lyrical themes on this record. We've got like a little mini series on YouTube that we used to promote the record before it was released, where we kind of go in depth on a couple of tracks. And a little bit of it is open to interpretation. Like dealing with indoctrination, that comes in many forms, right? So it's not just about religious or political indoctrination. It could be about whatever you're facing in your personal life. You can relate to that lyrical theme. So it kind of covers a bit of a broad. It can be interpreted in a few ways, but it is still about being raised to believe something and then coming up with your own worldview.
Mm-hmm. Do you look inward for these subject matters? Like, is this like an internal source of inspiration, or do you have to like look outward in order for inspiration to come?
A bit of both. I haven't had as hard a life as a lot of people. I've definitely dealt with, my demons and stuff like that. But looking at the world as, just as a whole, and then as, North America and what's going on in Europe with, political clashes right now, and how the left and the right seem to be getting further and further apart and more radical, and it's happening all over the world. So, I mean, stuff like that definitely affects everybody who pays attention to it in a negative way, because it's just so much negativity all the time, and then that can affect your your mood or your complete, headspace if you let it overtake you.
When you sing about like a dark subject matter of a song, like, and you make art out of it, like kind of in a way like using paint as a paintbrush, like does that result in a positive outcome as always, or do you kind of like when you're executing this material, especially live, you kind of have to put yourself in that dark element?
No, I definitely like to keep a silver lining on all of this subject matter. I feel that addressing it is better than avoiding it. So if people listen to this and are like, "Oh, wow, maybe I only do the things I do because my parents did it and their grandparents and et cetera," might, switch a flip and make them think about why they're living their life the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Here you go. When it comes to playing your material live, because when I saw you on the Soulfly tour, like I thought it was a completely different experience than just simply listening to the album. So when it comes to playing your material live versus being in songwriting mode and rehearsing and all that, is it a different headspace altogether, or is there maybe like a similar method behind the madness that applies to both?
Definitely try and get in the headspace of, okay, we're going to perform these songs as passionately as we can and reflect the anger that we have, that the art reflects. So going into rehearsal room, it's like, all right, guys, let's make this sound better than the album. Let's make this sound more passionate than the album, because you just got to keep striving for better and better, and then if you come catch us live, you'll feel it.
Yeah, of course. Here comes the hardest question. I believe I asked the other guys this last time, but for you, how do you know when a song is done? It's always the hardest question.
When the producer says, "No more."
I interviewed your label mates back in on the Animus on their Flesh
Yeah.
God, who's actually in New York today. But,
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but like they like even said, when I get the final mixes back. That's
Yeah,
all.
seriously, no, there. It is nice to have a producer in the room to be like, okay, guys, that's done. Don't play that riff 5 more times. It's done. That's enough. The song's done. Or vice versa. Hey, maybe a little bit here, maybe a little bit there. So we can definitely put together a pre-pro, put together a demo, have a vision, but at a certain point, there's going to be a song where the 5 of us just can't agree on the final structure. It's great to have that extra body in the room, in the studio, to make those calls.
I've always said the producer is like the 5th Beatle or 6th Beatle. If you're in Slipknot, the 11th Beatle. So like, I'd imagine when you have a producer, he also maybe brings in some elements to apply to your music that maybe the 5 of you guys didn't have, right?
Big time, yeah. Especially like we recorded the album with Jason Sukoff, who's
a mad scientist.
A mad scientist, yeah. So he heard what we were bringing to the table, and he was like, "Yeah, I can work with this band. I see what they're doing. I can help these guys achieve it," and he did. It was awesome.
Yeah, and he worked with, All That Remains. He worked with, I think, Black Dahlia Murder.
Big time
Job
Black Dahlia Murder.
Boy.
Yeah, Sun Eater by Job for a Cowboy is like masterpiece.
Yeah, Trivium. So, I think you hit the nail on the head working with him.
Yeah, we got super lucky to get his attention, and to have him as a friend now is like pretty sick. He's a good guy.
Awesome. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's always great to be able to talk to you guys. Is there just anything else for this record cycle that you would like to promote? Could we be expecting maybe some new Arrival of Autumn fairly soon, or could we be maybe expecting like some new music or some more tours?
Some more tours coming up, and we're gonna start writing the new album in the new year. So yeah, it's gonna keep happening.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
Keep it happening.
Cool. Thanks for coming out and having me on.
Yeah, great to talk to you again. Everybody, we are here with Jamison of Arrival of Autumn. New stuff coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.